Guptill's going to push for Tony. They've got to go.
It's not Fro's got to go. The keeper's in.
What exactly is the spirit of cricket? The spirit of cricket, it is part of the fabric of our sport. No other sport has codified the spirit so blatantly in its laws as we have, and we disregard it at our peril. The phrase, "it's just not cricket," is not an accident. It's because cricket's DNA is based on integrity, and people know that cricket represents something more than a game.
He's got it. England have won the World Cup by the barest of margins.
We didn't win, we tied.
We got the same number of runs in the game. We got the same number of runs in a tied over. Why do we separate?
Cut it in half. Why don't we cut it in half?
Well,
would you not have a double super over?
What's wrong with 50 overs each, guys? What's wrong with 50 overs each?
To have a tournament decided by an afterthought is a pretty sad way to be. Whether it was New Zealand, whether it was Australia, whether it was South Africa or Pakistan, it was an afterthought.
सही निर्णय ये होता कि दोनों को joint winner करवाया जाता.
They should have gone joint champions because that will be the real battle between both teams. End of the day, nobody got a winning run.
Moments like 2019 World Cup final set a direction for the game that unfolds over time. While this moment raises questions on faith, on spirit, on integrity of the sport, it also presents an opportunity to create a defining moment for cricket and inspire generations. Here are 3 simple questions, ICC, so this recent history is addressed the right way.
What was the crowd like around you? Was everyone kind of asking, like, what's going on? What does that mean? What's happening?
Yeah, everyone's really confused. No one knew what was going on. And firstly, they thought, oh, have we lost the match when it tied because of wickets? But then everyone realised it was going to a super over.
Nasser, super over हो जाए? इस गेम में super over नहीं होते.
The super over was brought around for 2020 cricket.
There he goes again. That's on. It's gone even further. There goes Gale again.
They fell into that situation in the World Cup without ever thinking about a tie, without ever thinking about a draw in a World Cup final. So, gee, what can we do? Oh, we'll have a super over. Well, what a rubbish decision.
Did you guys actually plan for a super over strategy before the start of the match?
I went up to the umpires to say, good game. I didn't even know there was a super over, so one day cricket has played over such a long time that a tie's a tie.
"100 overs of cricket, you cannot split these teams."
After all this time, the scores are exactly level.
If we take tie as a tie in a World Cup final, then who should be the winner? I mean, do you think that we can have joint winners, or what are your ideas on this?
Yeah, I think so. I think you can have a joint winner.
You can't decide a 50-over game on a 1-over super over.
I'd be quite happy not having a super over at all. What's wrong with these people?
Yeah, what about a shared trophy?
3 from the final ball. Is drawn.
A tie is a rare result in the longer formats of the game, but a traditionally accepted result. Was ICC prepared for the rare event of a tie at a World Cup final? Why 1 over, super over? Why not joint winners?
He gets it in again, he gets a boundary, 15 off the super over.
The Champions Trophy shared between India and Sri Lanka.
Nearly 4,200 ODIs, only 38 have been ties, which is less than 1%. Isn't cricket good with tie as a result?
Tie is a very legitimate result, but I don't think a tie in a tiebreaker is an acceptable result. Funnily enough, there was an epic tiebreak going on between Federer and Djokovic in a fifth set at the same time as that World Cup final. They're not just going to stop, at 7-all and say, okay, well, Federer hit more aces, therefore he wins.
Djokovic is a Wimbledon champion, and he has won it in the longest final in Wimbledon history.
2 from 1. If he gets bet on this, they'll take the run.
Yeah.
So we are going to end up with boundaries.
So it's boundaries.
Do we really want to decide the World Cup on that?
It's clipped away into the leg side. They're going to come back for the second. The throw is picked up. They throw to the wicket-keeper's end. He's run out, is he? I think he's run out. England think he's run out. England are convinced he's been run out.
In this scenario, what you could be sad about, what you could be angry about, how do you react, what do you take away from this sort of an ending, apart from just laughing at it, what else can you do?
In the finish it was essentially tied twice. If you put yourself in Kane Williamson's shoes, do you think the boundary rule is a fair way to decide a World Cup final?
If you could give me an alternative, I'd be able to compare the both, but I can't think of an alternative at the moment. The rules were obviously set out a long time ago, and we have no control over them.
What point during that intense afternoon was the team made aware of the absurd rule that this could be decided on a boundary count?
I was padding up in the changing room for the Super Over. So no, it hadn't been mentioned at any point before that.
Certainly something you don't consider going into the match, that maybe if we could hit an extra boundary and then tie 2 attempts at winning it, then we'll get across the line, and they didn't think that either. I don't even know what the boundary count was, but obviously we were slightly behind. Yeah, very, very tough to... Yeah, there you go.
Almost since its inception, cricket has been synonymous with fair play. It's not cricket, just another way of saying it's not right, was an expression used throughout the English-speaking world.
The game of cricket has always been about scoring runs and taking wickets. Now, it's never been about hitting the most sixes. It's never been about hitting the most fours. Why, in the first place, wasn't it who lost the least wickets?
In grassroots cricket, we're told to just try get the singles, doubles and threes without trying to hit to the boundaries too often.
Why cannot we have a shared trophy in an instance like that? And bizarre that it's over boundaries. Just a ridiculous decision that whoever made it hadn't actually thought it through.
Yes, the rules were set a long time ago, but the result was based on misplaced rules on paper and not by cricket played on the field. Tell us, ICC, why should history be decided by lapses of the governing body and not by cricket itself?
We must all work proactively to protect the spirit of the game. In my view, it is imperative to the long-term sustainability of the game. After all, who will want their kids to play cricket if what you see and read about is foul language, bad sportsmanship or corruption?
What about the toss? Well, it was vital, especially looking at the boundary that's so short. If batsmen are able to reverse sweep you for 6 on a 59-meter boundary, then there's not much you can do as a spinner, So quite bizarre on a flat pitch. It's the first time we've experienced that, so it's crazy that things fall in place like that randomly.
And the unbeaten side in the World Cup have been beaten. England's World Cup campaign is back on track.
धर्मसेना गलती करते हैं सेमीफाइनल में, रॉय को गलत आउट देते हैं, बिल्कुल गलत, वाइड बॉल था, कोई संपर्क नहीं, बैट उसके बाद वो फाइनल पर अंपायरिंग कर रहा है। क्या मैसेज क्या जा रहा है?
Nobody likes to make an error, but it happens.
second best player has got a bad decision, a really bad decision, and couldn't do anything about it. So it's huge. It's a huge moment.
Close straight away. I can't believe that. I cannot believe it. First ball of the innings.
Given, nipping back.
You know, when we see Kumar Sangakkara is part of MCC Cricket Committee and he is umpiring in a World Cup final featuring England at Lord's. Lord's again is connected to MCC.
Well, very good review from Henry Nichols.
Is there a borderline conflict of interest somewhere having Kumar Sangakkara umpire in that match?
Probably above my pay grade to answer it honestly, but they're the organisation that look at sort of the spirit of the game and how the game's going. And what happened in that final is one of the biggest contradictions of what's in the spirit of the game. You'd certainly think at the very least he would want to see the rules and the spirit of the game maintained.
This is a big moment, they've got to run. They go to the other end. Oh, he gets in the way. This is going to go all the way to the boundary off the bat. Can you believe this? It has. I do not believe what I've just seen.
And it will go down as 6.
This was a mistake committed by the umpires. You have 21, 22 cameras on the field. You can definitely go in for checking. They just started for second run. Captain has already thrown the ball.
If the two batsmen Stokes and Adil Rashid have not crossed,
exactly,
then that is not given as a run.
And Rashid will face the next delivery. Should have faced the next delivery. So the result could have been different, totally different.
It was a pretty tough pill to swallow, that when we're looking pretty likely with Trent bowling really, really well. So one of those things.
So why shouldn't Kumar Sangakkara, review it and ask the four umpires were there, man?
I refuse to believe that there wasn't an ounce of uncertainty. And the moment that happened, he should have said, let's give a couple minutes to get our ducks in a row to make the right decision. And he didn't do it.
So what Simon Toffel said, in the heat of the moment, it was thought that maybe they have crossed. But it was so far off. He had no idea of the rule, or it was knowingly overlooked for some reasons.
But if it's knowingly overlooked, I mean, and I have heard that, who knows, then yes, that does go, that's beyond the rules, that's the integrity of the game.
Kumar Sangakkara is in elite panel of ICC umpiring. You can't be like, oh, I don't know this rule and this is a heat of the moment. If he's not sure about the rule, he can take a time because this is a decision of the World Cup final.
Even third umpire and match referee sitting in the room, they could even on their own, they can intervene. That's the way that third umpire job goes. He can always tell the non-field umpires, hold the game. Let me get back to you.
The match referee or the third umpire, they should have, kept their cool. They shouldn't have allowed the game to resume in a rush.
In Qatar, if someone is cheating in cricket, we ask him, don't be ECB, man. Don't be an ICC.
That's not good for the game.
But the fact is there.
Team that is the best team in the world, the team that might be dominating world cricket, has the responsibility to ensure that the integrity of the game is upheld every single time that they play. That the spirit of cricket is there on the field with them every single time that they enter the field.
The throw hit him and ricocheted to the boundary. Had it gone for just one more, well, Ben Stokes might not have run. And I said, no, we don't do that.
Ben Stokes कह सकता था, sorry, मैं रन नहीं ले रहा. ये spirit of the game में मैं कह रहा हूँ कि क्या Ben Stokes या अंपायर खुद कहते हैं dead ball.
अंपायर नहीं कह सकता था क्योंकि उनकी टेंशन नहीं है. प्लेयर कह सकता था बस सिर्फ.
Can you explain what you were thinking at that moment?
I was just trying to stay in the moment, really. I wasn't celebrating. It's not something that you celebrate or cheer. Well, I don't.
You are negating a good return. To make it worse, you're giving runs.
he shouldn't have got. So,
undeserved.
I mean, absolutely, I think it should be a dead ball straight away.
Two great cricketers, Colin Cowdrey and Ted Dexter, set out to define a concept, something which would enshrine the fundamentals of fair play and good sportsmanship. They called it the Captain's Charter, which later evolved to become the spirit of cricket.
In particular, the spirit of cricket is about putting the game's interests before yours and your country's interests.
Respect for yourself, yes. Respect for your opponent, yes. But primarily, respect for the game.
England have been spirit of cricket's guiding light to the world. Why not address the events fairly when the spirit is challenged at a World Cup final?
It was out in the laws of the game. It probably wasn't out in the spirit of the game. Andrew Strauss and I think Andy Flower came in to meet Dhoni and Duncan Fletcher, and Dhoni then led a team meeting that we should reinstate Ian Bell.
The end decision was probably the right one for the spirit of the game, and I think they probably admit that.
England have also been a superior ODI side in recent years. Is that not a reason to have a win which is shared but truly respected by the world, and one that honors the spirit? Tell us, ICC, is the spirit of cricket honored with the World Cup result? And how do you answer questions raised on integrity of the game?
अगर समझ लीजिए इंडिया फाइनल में थी और यही इंडियन
फिर
टीम के साथ होता,
अगर इंडियन
आप मुझे बताइए क्या होता।
मैं तो टीवी पे शो करके अगर इंडियन टीम के साथ ये 1 रन का धोखा होता,
हाँ तो बताइए फिर
धर्म सेना अपना आखिरी रन कर चुके होते।
नहीं कहीं कुछ और बहुत ज्यादा कुछ होता,
उतना हो चुका होता और इस बवाल
हम लोग अपील ना करते।
अपील तो बनती है।
मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ,
न्यूजीलैंड वालों की अपील बनती है।
बनेगी नहीं, मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ इंडिया अपील करती या नहीं?
100%।
We would be outside the ICC headquarters right now. Some 1.5 billion of us would be outside the ICC headquarters.
War, yeah.
The BCCI is very powerful. Do you feel that India does all it can for the pastoral care of the game?
Every generation has its caretakers of the game. Of the 3 nations guiding the game today, India, England, and Australia, India has the biggest influence on the global game.
The good thing about India is they probably have the potential to use the IPL and play the IPL over 6 months, and that becomes cricket. So far, they've been very much behind keeping all 3 formats going.
Who's your favourite players? Steve Orr? Yes, good answer. Well done, mate. Well said.
Cricket is a religion in India. It's a great leveller. Everyone is equal. It doesn't matter who you are. Once you step out on the field, you're all equal. That is the spirit of cricket.
Mahatma Gandhi said, a nation's culture resides in the hearts and in the soul of its people. As cricket certainly resides in the hearts and the souls of Indian people, I believe most of the existing problems can be solved by India if it embraces the spirit of cricket.
Think of the golden rule. The Hindu version is, make right conduct, dharma, your main focus. Treat others as you treat yourself. In Islam we find, none of you truly believes until he wishes for his brother what he wishes for himself. And Christianity asks us to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Now, I'd say the spirit of cricket is of this kind, and rightly so.
मैं कह रहा हूं कम से कम आईसीसी के सामने एक अपील हो, एक कमेटी बैठे और डिसाइड करे। आपने माना है कि अगर इंडिया होता तो इंडिया अपील करता, तो न्यूजीलैंड छोटा देश है, इसलिए आप उनको वो तवज्जो नहीं दे रहे हो.
The 2019 World Cup is a moment of cricket history that will speak of Indian leadership and its essence. Is it not India's responsibility that this moment stands for fairness and respects the faith fans put in the game?
We don't want to claim that we've won the tournament, but we would like to at least know that we drew the tournament and that we are equal world champions with England for the World Cup. That's how our country feels. We're pretty humble, so we're not going to make a big deal about it, but I really feel, and our country feels, that that's how it should have been shared.
You know, the ECB talk about the grassroots level here, they talk about fair play, kids getting into it, gentleman's game, and you're not really seeing any of that in terms of how this whole mess has been handled. People are saying we really hope that we win the one in 2023. At least then we'll feel like we've got a genuine cup. The whole innocence of the game is taken away.
हमारा फीलिंग ऐसा था कि यार ये गलत हो रहा है, दोनों के बीच में ट्रॉफी मिलना चाहिए और रिव्यू होना चाहिए.
In the end, the spirit of the game is actually lost over there. There should be something that has to happen.
Make some kind of arrangement between the English Cricket Board and New Zealand Cricket, putting England and New Zealand's names together on the trophy.
You scrapped the rule, okay, we respect it. Now just do something which is right and share the trophy.
One of the finalists was the big three team. That's why all the teams are silent, all the boards are silent even.
Both sides should have shared the trophy, which is a fact. One of the reasons why England was given the trophy, the ICC and the brutal power are the big three. That's just wrong.
If I was in the shoes of an ICC leader, I would come out and answer the questions of the fans waiting for a clarification of what went wrong.
Mistakes are made by everyone, but to correct the mistake is the biggest thing.
Why not be able to share a trophy?
Is cricket safe? If you were looking at cricket 30 years down the road, will it be the setup that we know and love now?
There's a lot of responsibility on the administration and the people who are governing. Make decisions, but at the same time review them and not be stubborn about holding on to those decisions so that we keep it alive.
You want to watch something you love and trust. What you see is basically should be what you get. Be it Test cricket, T20 cricket or any format. If the spectators don't trust it, they're not going to come, they're not going to fall in love with it. The passion dies, the game dies.
End of the day, ICC, if you are not coming with a fair decision or you are not able to retrospect into your mistake, how can fans put a trust on you?
Imagine ICC acknowledging New Zealand as equal joint winners. Is that not a direction that unites the cricketing world and makes cricket more appealing? The other direction, does it not promote self-interest and corruption and weakens the faith in the game? Tell us, ICC, has the 2019 moment set the game in a direction that strengthens the roots of the game?
I love this story. So when Spanish triathlete Diego Mentrida, he noticed that British triathlete James Teagle went the wrong way in the race right before the finish line. He waited at the finish line so Teagle could cross before him.
It wasn't my position. Like my position, I think it was the behind him. So I think that's why I stopped.
Your organization gave you an honorary third place. You did your part, but they have done their part in making sure that they promote this act.
A lot of things went against New Zealand that day. Let's be honest. England had a bit of luck that day. So Williamson could have moaned about that. Not once did he moan about it, however much he was hurting.
He's a prophet-like guy. In our religion, you can say.
वो एक बुद्धिस्ट मंक है, बिल्कुल शांत स्वभाव का. हाँ, बिल्कुल, भाई मानना पड़ेगा.
The most admirable thing is the way that they play their cricket, and they do it in a fashion that you'd have no qualms in turning around to your kid and saying, please idolise these guys.
The cricketers, you're happy, or you should, everybody wants to be like gentlemen like you?
Nelson Mandela was right when he said sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language they understand. The spirit of cricket should not only define how we play the game, but how we fulfill cricket's broader purpose. Cricket has a great capacity to unite people, to inspire and to empower.
Very difficult question to answer. Just be yourself and try and enjoy what you do.
Thanks very much, guys. Cheers.
The word inspiration comes from being in spirit. How does cricket serve its broader purpose when virtues like humility, grace, equality are dishonored at a global stage?
What we have is a game with its roots deep in the 19th century. If we want our children's children's children to be able to climb on that tree, we must be guided by the paramount and enlightening thing that Colin Cowdrey knew and cherished so well, the spirit of cricket.